This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hello everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Great to see you guys once again, and we're talking about something that, I always feel uncomfortable, saying bad things or good things about things because my opinion, number one, my opinion doesn't matter. But after I see something and I get more information about something and something that makes me scratch my head, well, I like to make these videos and I like to hear your opinions. Of course, constructive criticism always is good to get, but I never like to trash anything. So that's not what this video is, but it is kind of a head scratcher to me. So I've been very, very busy, and finally last night I got to sit down and see the hour-and-a-half video that was done for Descent. Now, it's not the 3rd edition, but I don't care how you put it. If you're going to put Descent on it, it's a different edition, so it's a 3rd edition in my head. One of the things that stood out, of course, you see this table full of these wonderful miniatures, and you hear all these things from the designers about how they're going to, it's very story driven and this, that, and the other. But there was one thing that really stood out for me. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of, for me, negative things that, and I wouldn't call them negative things, but things that just make me go, I don't know. I really don't know. Now listen, let's be honest. We don't have the game in our hands, so we can't really comment. But I do want to talk about a situation here that seems to be a trend with especially Fantasy Flight games. And I don't think it's a great trend. Okay? And some other games do this as well. And that's the app. Because the question was asked, can you play the game without the app? And they said no. The app is a very important part of this co-op experience. So let's take a look at the new Descent and really break it down a little bit, okay? So there's a couple things that stand up as a flag to me, okay? Number one, I'm a big fan of the original Descent, the 1st edition, the long box. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, the game was long, this, that, and the other, but it was a great experience. Then when they came out with the 2nd edition, which is that one versus many thing, and then the app came and kind of evened things out so you can co-op it. I never really loved the app because of a couple things, and we'll talk about that when we get to the 3rd thing. If you notice, a lot of things are changing for them to apps. Lord of the Rings, all right, very app driven. Okay. Mansions of Madness, very app driven. And you kind of sit here and you go, I've been burned by this once before. Okay, but let's just get back to Descent as a whole. They don't want to call it the 3rd edition because it's nothing like the 2nd edition. So why are you calling it Descent? Okay, yeah, it has some of the lore and everything, but why not just give it a different name? Or is it a marketing strategy? Okay, if it's not Descent, then it's not Descent. Okay, I think that was kind of a cop-out in a way. If it's not one versus many, and now it's just this co-op driven game, then one of the things that to me is take the chance and come out with something different. Come out with a different name. I think that would have been kind of good. So what do you call it? I mean, yeah, you call it Descent, whatever, but if it's not Descent, then what is it? It's a co-op game. It's a co-op dungeon crawl. On the good side, miniatures look great, and overall, the name really isn't going to matter as much as the gameplay is really going to matter. Now, let's kind of go to the app part. You know, I watched this thing for an hour and a half, and I saw good things. You know, I see the passion that they put into it. You know, you can hear it from the designers, the excitement that people have for this. We all have excitement for it. I'm excited for it. And no matter what, you know, what I think right now, I can't judge the game until I get the game in hand. And I will get the game, and along with everybody else will get the game. But here's the thing. When you have this app, okay, it makes, I think deep down, it is a short shelf life. Now, I have games in my collection that are 30 to 50 years old, okay, and that stand the test of time. Well, let's be honest, you know, with the way modern board gaming is and how great modern board gaming is, you know, it's antiquated, but you can still open up the game and play it. Tell me 30 years from now, you're going to be able to open up the Descent, because we don't know what new technology or what is going to happen in the future. Are there going to be computers in the future, or is there going to be something totally different? Okay, even 10 years from now, do you buy this game? Are they playing upon what they think the customer is, that they have this short attention span, and you know, they can't stay focused on one thing, that people don't stick with a game too long? Because if not, why would you call it Descent? Okay, and go after something that originally was a long time ago, okay, the first edition, and play off the name Descent if you thought everybody had this short attention span. The thing is, we don't know how technology changed. And a perfect example of this was a game I liked. And I'm going to use it as an example where it's not a perfect example, and you could poke holes in this. But I want you to kind of see how I see things. I had a game that we did early on the channel, and it was called Golem Arcana. Okay, I really enjoyed it. It was a battle tech type of game, but with these golems and this, that, and the other. There were two things that happened there, okay? The first one is when it failed, okay, and it went for about a year, and then people went, and weren't interested anymore. Well, what about the people that had all the stuff? Yeah, you can put it on an older system, but I find that when I try to download or find it and put it on a newer system, I can't. So now all that stuff is useless. And the other thing that really got to me was that, you know, was the app itself. You were concentrating more on the app instead of what we really should be concentrating. If you're going to make a board game, or do we become too reliant on apps to tell us the story, to build the theme, you know, to build the theme and build everything else? If you're playing a board game, you want to focus on the board game and not keep on doing this with an app. I think it takes away from the essence of board gaming if you have to depend upon an app. Now Lord of the Rings is good, but again, you're taking away from some of the imagination, because you have to find out what is underneath that certain mark. Well, you got to use the app. And if it becomes where you have to rely on that app to drive a game, and again, they might have something totally ingenious that we've never seen before, so I'm very open mind to it. But my first thought is my past experiences with Golem Arcana. You know, well, there's invisible things out there, and you might run into them. So you show your, you know, a complete fail, okay? Because you became more reliant on an app, where we had to set up a monitor, and we were basically playing a computer game with miniatures. You know, I don't think we're ready for that, or nobody's perfected it. Here, you know, this sounds like more of the same, you know, where the original, second edition app for Descent was good, told a story, but, did it take away from the board game? You know what I mean? The good thing is that if you didn't want to go through the hassle of using the app, you could push it aside and still play the game. Same thing with Imperial Assault. The Mansions of Madness, unfortunately, I believe that you had to have the app. And when it becomes reliant on the app, does the game die out quickly? And again, like I said, does it become a thing where technology outlives it? So now you just spent $100 and some odd, and instead of your board game that you can play 10 years from now, maybe you won't be able to. I had a problem when I was playing the Descent app, that we were in the middle of the game and it glitched and it froze up my iPad. And well, I guess that's the game. Becoming too reliant on technology is not always the greatest thing. We're playing board games. We're not playing computer games. If I want to play a computer game, I'll go to my PlayStation, to my Xbox, to my computer, to my iPad, to my phone, and I'll play all the computer games I want. Heck, we even got the Old Man Gaming channel, which we don't stream to that much anymore, but we try to. Okay? I want to play a board game because I want that experience of playing a board game. To not rely on looking at a screen. I want to look at the components. I want to build the theme myself. I want to feel something. It's like, in a lot of ways, and this is the way I kind of feel about it, is I have an entire comic book collection on a computer, okay, on disc, okay. I was able to, I went and I used to buy those CDs that they used to come out with, and it would give you the entire run of Spider-Man into this point. Well, when I would go read them, it didn't feel the same. Even though it was gorgeous, it looked great, it was easy, I could put it on my iPad or put it on my little laptop and just lay there, and I could go through as many issues as I want for a certain amount of price and be able to experience all the things. And Marvel put these out, oh God, I think it was early 2000s. And I can go through all these things and read all these things, even Marvel Unlimited that I have. Okay, I use it as a reference, but I don't often sit there and read it. Sometimes I try to, but it isn't the same as picking up a comic book and reading it. And that's the way I kind of feel about board games, is that when I pick up put down a board game, I want to be sucked in by that moment. When you open up a comic book and that smell or that feel, or being able to sit there and read, and not relying on screens that emit all kinds of radiation and strain your eyes. I mean, it's to the point that I have to wear glasses or reading glasses, well, mostly because of my old age. I don't feel that that's the way to go, but maybe you guys feel different. I'm not too sure about that. Okay, but there's one way to find out, and that's to leave a comment on the bottom here, and leave a constructive and kind comment. If you get snarky or become a wise guy, I just delete them. We don't have time for that. But constructive, smart posts, I always enjoy, because maybe I'm wrong. I'm not always right. And you have to be willing to say, hey, I'm wrong. You make a great point. And that's what makes this channel what it is being able to say, hey, this is my opinion, but boy, I'm willing to hear everybody else's. And I hope that you guys will respond in kind. I'm really torn about this game. It's a funny thing. It just seems more of a corporate thing. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it. Where I take a look at a game like Dungeon Universalis, which at first I would really had struggled with, and then I see how they just kept on improving and making this beautiful experience. And here we are, they kickstart and they kill it. Okay, they kickstart a second edition and they kill it because they're going to fix all the things. Are we going to get that, or are we going backwards with Descent, where we had a very, very good game that was in high regard with the first edition, and then came down here to the second edition, and now is this new version, because we can't call it a third edition, here. Okay? And with all the fantastic dungeon crawls out there, where is this going to fall in? Is this going to be something that people are going to go, this is innovative, this is going to be the thing that takes us into the future? Or are people going to be, no. So I'm really curious about this. I guess we have to wait till second quarter of 2021. We'll see how that goes. But in all honesty, I need more information, because right now I'm not sold on it. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Remember, miniatures are nice, but they don't make the game. Okay? Gameplay, smart gameplay. Okay? Great theme, great story, which let's be positive. They're going to build a fantastic story around this. Okay? Very smart people there at Fantasy Flight. Every time I think, they always come out and do a great job. So let's hope for the best. But right now, I'm really on the fence about this. What about you? What are your thoughts? I look forward to hearing and seeing your comments here at Rob's Tabletop World. And until next time, for your old pal, Rob.